Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Welcome back to episode 4. That's right. Episode 4. UK Headphones 31. That's right, folks. Headphones 31. I'm your host, Dan, Nostalgia. Hope you're hitting like and subscribe, because you know what's coming. Hellraiser. Released on the 9th of November 1987, directed by Clive Barker, starring Ashley Lawrence, Claire Higgins, Sean Chapman, Andrew Robinson, and Doug Bradley as Pinhead. Music by Christopher Young. Box office earnings $14.6 million US dollars. Distributed by New World Pictures. The story being an adaptation of the novel The Hellbound Heart, also written by Clive Barker, with the main characters Larry, brother to Frank, along with Julia, his second wife, and his daughter Kirsty from his first marriage. The location setting for the novel was set in Merseyside, Liverpool originally, before location changed for creative purposes. The concept being the baseline for pleasure and pain, with a mystical puzzle box able to summon demons called the Cenobites. Julia being the main antagonist on the murderous rampage, luring men in like a moth to a light. So, going a bit fatal attraction here. Both the novel and the film stated with Frank Cotton as a pleasure seeker in Morocco on the opening act, buying La Marchand, rumoured to open realms of worldly pleasures, buying weird things on weird people, and the streets don't always pan out. Got Officer Murphy being held at gunpoint by cruel-minded criminals with a twisted sense of humour. No. Yeah. The extra-dimensional realm, holding Frank, finding his way back through by spilt blood from some brother on the wooden flooring, and kick-started the return. The Hellbound Heart being released only a year before the film's adaptation, which goes to show you the impact of this film, of this book, how it's registered, how it resonated, how it struck a chord, how it stayed with an audience, how an audience demanded such a thing. It's there. Provocative notion, numero uno. What was Frank really pursuing in terms of his pleasures? I mean, it was all a bit sadomasochistic and weirdistic and whatnot. What was he really after? Where was his mind? Well, maybe he needed therapy. It seems like all these doors were on the hinges and the storm came and the tornado took that away. And provocative notion numero dos was what happened with the mysterious salesman in Morocco. Was he the previous owner, or did someone just bring it to him? I mean, you never know. I would love to have found out about that. Filming took place in various parts of London, UK, and Production Village Studios took care of the interior scenery of the home, situated in Cricklewood Lane, Cricklewood. Funding for the film's budget was believed to have been in the region of 900k, which I'm not sure. I don't think that could have been much at the time for a horror, considering B movies didn't always get a big budget. Maybe they were getting less. Let me know, folks. Let me know. Correct me if I'm wrong. The Cenobites resembling religious sect from hell, Order of the Gash. Butterball Cenobite almost resembles Jabba the Hutt as a Cenobite with shades on, or is it just me, folks? Maybe Butterball himself, the boxer. Be interesting. The film's shooting time or schedule was only set for 7 weeks, but New World extended the production for an extra 2 to 3, which I don't know if it was a good or bad thing. Maybe Bagger will tell you that one. Also, Bagger wanted to name the film after his novel, Hellbound Heart, until the producer suggested another name, Hellraiser, and the name struck a chord. Hellraiser. Yeah. Definitely did. Pinhead wasn't originally his name, but the film crew called him that as a tag name, and it stuck. But the character was so interesting, not only in the book, but on screen. Viewers wanted to see more of this individual, and Doug Bradley obliged and featured in others, which I'm thankful for, because I think Pinhead's one of the greatest horror villains of all time. And then there was Bagger pushed to make the tone of the adaptation similar to his written work, but had come across obstacles trying to get everything he wanted with this. So he had to hold back on certain things. Also determined to helm the project himself, not sure if he could trust anyone else to handle his brainchild and deliver. It's a bit similar to Stephen King. Stephen King wrote a shed load of novels, but they were all helmed by different producers, directors, film companies, and King had not co-signed none of this off. So it didn't. So he was dead certain he wanted this himself. And fair dues to the man, he got it. The recreation of the World War I scenes were heavily detailed, featured in the sequel films for the origin of Pinhead character, solving a La Mancha puzzle box, which helps. I love it. I got the La Mancha puzzle box myself. I purchased it online. I still not hoping to summon Frank or anyone else or any Cenobites. I'm fine. Thank you. And Bagger wanted to add more scenes of violence, getting an X-rated film certificate, which how X-rated can you go with chains and hooks slashing, tearing skin off people? Something else. The scene with Julia and the nude man was shot but replaced by the half-closed scene instead, before he fell victim to Frank. I think Bagger was like trying to get full-on nudity in his films there. So I'm not sure what the game plan was there. Scenes were filmed with Kirsty and Frank, but the exploding guts and head were too extreme and were cut from the final edit. So they were probably filmed, they probably looked at and thought, and they couldn't do it. And the sexual scenes were replaced by more subtle scenes of sexual content. Bagger wanted more explicit than violence. So I was thinking, this man thinking horror scenario, or was this Pinhead meets Pornhub? You tell me. one of the film's quotes, which I do love. You could get it tattooed on you. It's that good. We'll tear your soul apart. Doug Bradley kills it. I gotta be honest. There were issues with rushed scenes during the Chinese restaurant scene that was shot, and I'm not sure how Barker still feels about it to this day, but the work is already out there and it's done. The La Mancha boxes were made from wood and cut out brass and produced by Simon Says, which he must have made a lot. I think they took up to like 6 or 7 hours I read they took to make, and obviously they couldn't afford to drop them. And the filming had 2 editors, Richard Madden and an uncredited Tony Randall, which Randall didn't get the credit until later. So, was he paid though? That's another question. Barker was, like I said, he was a few scenes short of an adult film. I'm not sure what sort of horror he was talking about, but he was guiding the film in a direction. The film being banned in Ontario by Ontario Film and Video Review Board in 1987. Ontario, it didn't sound like nice people. Maybe they just wasn't open to the idea of people being ripped apart by flesh, and their flesh ripped apart by chains and demons from a puzzle box. An untold connection between Hellraiser and Paul Anderson's Event Horizon, both almost parallel in terms of ideology of hell, minus the puzzle box and the Cenobites. Still, a mystery to where the Event Horizon had travelled to. If you look at Sam Neill's character and what happened to the previous crew on the Event Horizon, it falls in line. It falls in line to what Hellraiser resembles. And that's a connection I'm trying to find. There's people on YouTube who's made videos about this, and I back that fully. So yeah, get at me if you've got some theories. I would love to discuss that. I'm all open to that, please. Anyone. I'm here to sit down and talk. I love that. That's my game plan. Andrew Robinson also featured in the 1986 action thriller Cobra, starring Sylvester Stallone, Bridget Nielsen, and Brian Thompson. You know the one. Let's play, pig. That's a good. Yeah. So Robinson starred in that. He played Monty. So nobody asked you, Monty. Yeah, that dude. The film and the novella both go hand in hand. I've read the book more times than I've seen the film, and if you haven't jotted it down on your must-to-do list, folks, because it's got to be done. Honestly, I suggest it. Seriously. Quentin Tarantino, the man himself, a big admirer of his work, has confessed to being a fan of the acclaimed Master of Darkness, Clive Barker. Not surprising, one great visionary respecting another in the field of cinematography. It's a great honour. Kirsty and Julia appeared in a sequel, but the third film took another approach to telling the story, then ran on to create an anthology of films dedicated to Clive Barker's novella Hellbound Heart and the follow-on books. Considering the written work was based in Merseyside of the story, how would the film projected if it had stuck with the location? This would have had an interesting twist in dynamic and tone. Only in an alternative world, guys, but it would have been interesting to have Hellraiser in Liverpool. You got maybe you would have had Pinhead maybe as a Merseysider. That'd have been interesting. You could have just looked at that and don't turn your nose up at that, guys. I like the idea. The Hellraiser remake, directed by David Bruckner in last year, 2022. He changed the lure of the original storyline, created by Bagger and David S. Goyer, being distributed by Hulu, starring Jamie Clayton as Pinhead, with major changes brought to incorporate the new storyline and the new protagonist, which goes by the name Riley McKendry, played by Odessa Aziam. I gotta be honest, I've not heard of any of these people. I've seen bits on YouTube. I've had a friend who told me about it, and I read the reviews online. I read a few of the reviews online, so I'd still go around just giving it a watch though. The remake scored an average, with reviews falling short on positivity on the IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes, being streamed online to Amazon, Prime, iTunes and Microsoft stores. Still have it marked on my watch list, folks, but I will give it a watch. Let's just say that. My view on Hellraiser 1987. Clive Barker had an idea and executed his world from words to vision on his own terms, with this B-rated horror at the time. Definitely separates the men from the boys. Let's be honest, Hellraiser steps up to the mark. No one can say different. The chains and the barbed hooks tear through others, with the amount of blood and prosthetics show in this hell fetish bloodfest. It comes fresh like that. Barker derives heavily from his novel, bringing to life every near moment in a haunting visual. And not only did he create a genre-defining classic, but upgraded not only the storytelling point of view, but the creativity of horror for the next generation of horror writers. This one really shook the pillars of heaven and hell. Not only did Clive Barker place it in the top corner with his novella, but he did it twice with this gory masterpiece of cinematography. A must-love for horror fans, one for the collection alongside Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, and the Evil Dead box sets on the shelves. Definitely one that sits amongst mine. So yeah, that's it. And I'm going to give this film a rating of 4 out of 5 for that. So before I move on, I want to just briefly say it's a brief word on the Bruce Willis situation. Just touching on the sad news of Bruce Willis and his fight with dementia. The fact that how he's held down a well-established acting career, but has truly stood out as a true Hollywood icon on screen, dating back to his early television work. The first film I'd seen Bruce Willis feature in had featured Kim Basinger in Blind Date in 1987, before his debut action flick Die Hard, starring as John McClane, and how he changed the action genre from there on, creating a game-changing film, starring in a game-changing film. And I would like to take this opportunity to not only thank Bruce Willis for his contribution to the cinematic arts and how his films have impacted my viewing on movies and television, But I would like to wish him and his family all the best possible treatment and support humanly possible in these testing times for the family right now. And it's heartbreaking to hear someone so great is suffering, and I can only offer my sincere thoughts and prayers and hope this can be solved, not just for Bruce Willis, but for everyone in general, everyone around the world. I hope this can be fixed. So, thank you for that. Now, again to my last segment of the day. What have you been watching? Recently, I've been watching I rewatched the Zack Snyder DCEU trilogy of films. I sat through Man of Steel, which I like Man of Steel. It's a mixed bag for some. I know it's some YouTubers' favourites. I like the film, I gotta be honest. The Richard Donner and Christopher Reeve's version is more my favourite, the original, but like I said, everyone's got their own opinion, but this, I just do like Man of Steel. I can put that up there too. So I given Man of Steel a watch. Straight after that, it was Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice. Now, I didn't like that the first go enough, and I didn't like that for the first number of years. But where I haven't seen it for so long, and then you watch it, is a continuity. It kind of fits the personality and the profile of what Zack Snyder's trying to get at. And then I followed that up with Zack Snyder's edition of Justice League, which we all know, is a great action film. It's a great superhero film. Is it better than Avengers? If he had had more time to stretch it out and maybe do other films, I think he could have had a contender. He could have had something, but he wasn't given the time, and circumstances had not gone his way, unfortunately. And also, in the pipeline, I'm making plans next week with sister and nieces and nephew, and we're going to watch Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I know it came out this week or last week. Yeah, everyone's raving about it, and people, some not so, but I'm going to watch it next week with my own eyes and listen to it with my own ears, and I'll give you a brief shape of what I think of it on my watch. So, I want to say thank you for listening for today's podcast, folks. Thank you very much. I've been your host, Dan Nostalgia, and I want to say I hope you hit the like, I hope you hit the subscribe, I hope you get notified, and please leave a comment. Please follow my channel, subscribe, please. Give me your support. Help me elevate this. And I'd like to wish you the best day for you, the best day you can possibly have. Stay healthy, mentally and physically. Thank you very much. Have a good day, ladies and gentlemen. This has been your host, Dan Nostalgia, the UK Outpost 31, and out.